All right, so I want to talk about how to lose 4 kilos in 6 weeks.
Sick.
Because it's doable. I
100%
think most people underestimate what they can do in 6 weeks and underestimate how often they'll, some people underestimate what they can do, and then some people underestimate that they can keep it off.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because you've been told that, like...
Yeah, like, it's, it's bad, it's this, that, it's whatever, so I
It's funny, hey, because, like, four in 6 weeks, like, it's not...
It's
not that much. you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, well,
it's not...
What is it, like, it's what, 600 grams?
Yeah.
600 gram drop a week?
Yeah,
it's 700.
Which is reasonable. And, like, obviously, with the other caveats, like, if you're a smaller human, 3 centimeters.
Yeah, we got to go 3 centimeters on your waist, right? Because it's like more quantifiable. So yeah, it's not easy, but I don't think it's not extreme. Correct. I think it's just
8 in 6. I'll be like,
it's the perfect. Well, we've seen other timelines from other brands and stuff, and it's like it just that little bit more leans into the stupid shit. So when we were like, well, how can we put something together that's
not stupid shit?
Yeah, that lays a foundation and a launching pad.
Yeah.
That's where all these numbers come from.
Yeah, I think if you're beginner, intermediate too, you're probably going to go into this. Like, 4 in 6 is still... You can still improve performance.
Yeah, absolutely.
In that, while pursuing that goal. And I think that's something for us is like, we still drive gym performance all the time.
Absolutely. And I'm always like, we're still driving like what's happened in 3 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, it's 6 weeks, but
Yeah.
I'm like laying foundations for 6 months. Like,
yeah,
that is the absolute
100%.
marker.
Yeah,
which most people aren't looking at. They're just trying to survive the 6 weeks.
Yeah,
and it's like by the end of the 6 weeks, they're just like, I can't wait for it to be over. It's like that's because of how it's set up.
Yeah,
it's because of the landmark that you're expected to land on.
Yeah,
it's just so great that you're just so tired and you're just so exhausted. So you don't want to do that.
So I ran that 28-day challenge at the start of the year. Every client that made it past week 2 is still going.
Yeah.
Whether they're working with me or not, like they're still going.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I put, you don't need to starve, you need a plan that doesn't make you hate your life.
I like
Just going to drop these little bombs in across that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll start with the first place, and it's like getting out of the calorie confusion. Because like most people will be able to drop the weight if they can grasp the calorie side of things, let alone adding in the physical component, like the aesthetic component, the performance component of training. It's like, if we're trying to drive fat loss, we need a deficit of energy.
Calorie fucking deficit.
That's it. We need a calorie deficit, period. So it's not, we don't have to look for like, really complicated diets. Like, you were kind of mentioned because you're bored, looking at things like keto or carnivore or whatever, or fasting or whatever. It's like,
do you know what stopped me?
Me? Making fun of you? I hope so.
No. The post-gym Saturdays.
Yeah.
We'll just get like a bowl of fruit or like the My Acai bowl or a muesli or whatever.
That's
or
fair.
If just a burger, it's like, I'd have to give that up. That was it.
Yeah, that's a fair call. That's a fair call. So there's no magic to the composition, like the style of diet. Like we're trying to find a diet that works. We believe that not eliminating food groups is the best thing to do. You want to have like, I understand like decision fatigue is real. So but there's like 3 groups of food, man.
Yeah.
You got your carbs, proteins, and your fats.
Yeah.
It's like, it's pretty easy to narrow in your focus on the foods within those areas.
Yeah. That
you're like, these are the ones we typically want to gravitate towards. And then it's about just controlling somebody's energy intake, which is different from person to person. The height, the weight more so, somewhat genetic components too. And then obviously your daily activity, which is, predicated off, your commitments outside of the gym, your job and your lifestyle and your family commitments and all of those things. So what we're trying to do is find a nutrition and strategy that creates a deficit across the week that you can just do consistently. And if we had 5 people in this room, all of those setups are going to be different.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
So what do you think if someone wants to lose this 4 kilos in 6 weeks, and we're talking about nutrition and calories, what do you think the best strategy is for do that? Do you think tracking, like these people need to track?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I would go another step is just like the repeated, repeatability. I don't want to say like a meal plan, but almost.
Oh, I'm in. I
Does
like
that
the
make sense?
idea. I like the idea of repeatability, especially for that window.
Yeah.
You know,
It's like it's so
good.
much easier, so much less friction. Everyone I know that has really long-term success, whether it's performance or fat loss or body composition in general, eats the same shit.
Yeah, 95% of the time.
Like 80% of my diet right now is exactly the same as it was when I was doing the photo shoot.
Yeah.
Like it's the same.
Yeah.
So where I see people trip up is even if they're tracking, they're trying to make all this stuff.
Yeah, it's macro
work
Tetris.
or fit or like variety or whatever. It's like just eat the same shit.
Yeah, and I like the idea of like creating a meal plan that has a wide variety of foods in it, and then that narrows the focus for them.
Yeah.
Because people get decision fatigue, like, oh, what do I eat?
Yeah.
And then some people will play catch up when they track their food. So you're like, this is what a day's worth of food is going to look like for you. And then there's going to be times when you're going to have to deviate.
Yeah.
So you're still going to track at the same time.
Yeah.
It's just like when you have to deviate, instead of throwing the baby out with the bathwater, being like, fuck it, and just going ham on the food for the day because you went off plan for one meal, learn how to just slot in, slot
Make
out,
the macros fit.
you know, and then you just get back on with it,
Yeah.
you know, for the next day. So I really like the idea of, you know, that like hybrid nutrition. We named it something months ago. I can't remember what we called the needs diet or something.
Yeah.
It's like
I think that's it.
Yeah. We I don't know. We talk a lot of shit. So, but I like the idea of that, and the consistency is where it is. So, tracking your food every week is super important, and then obviously from there we need to move into a calorie deficit. How much of that deficit is going to, or how big that deficit is, does depend on the person. But just even using straight math, you're looking at around, like, to lose 600 to 700 grams a week, you're roughly going to be like 300 to 500 calories, below your maintenance, based on, and then that's like not factoring in like exercise commitments and all of that kind of stuff. But around about-ish. But again, it differs from person to person. So.
Do you have any prerequisites for someone to attempt this? So our coaching philosophy for a long time was like, you do 2 to 3 week habit formation. Start tracking, start going to the gym, get your sleep right. Do you think you need to have all of those ducks in a row, or is it if you're just frustrated enough?
I think if you're ready
let's fucking go.
I think if you're ready to have a crack and you're willing to follow this system, then you're in.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, we were chatting yesterday about like another extreme approach that we saw, and was just like sometimes people just need that.
Yeah, just to get going.
Yeah.
They just need to see that it's going to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and like, I'm not setting this up so that people just remember the first 2 weeks of the method and then they end up losing it, but then always refer back to that first 2 weeks and keep trying to repeat that cycle.
Yeah.
Because let's be real, that's like, if you look at Herbalife or whatever, it's like that shit's like set up so that first 10 days
you lose fucking 3 kilos
potentially, so I don't get fucking sued.
Yeah.
Potentially, they would potentially think about that first 10 days and always go back to that first 10 days and just repeat the cycle. But it was set up in a way that most people couldn't commit to.
Yeah. So
I'm not about doing that. I'm about setting it up so if someone is just ready, but they've got to be a little bit trained, I think.
Yeah.
You got to be in the gym, know your way around and stuff, because you want to hit the ground running. Like that's the thing. We don't want the people that it's going to take a little bit to learn.
Yeah.
There's a lag time on that.
Yeah.
So that's when there's like got to be a pre-foundational phase to then kind of launch into this to take the advantage of it.
Yeah.
But I definitely think in a lot of cases, like, people just want to see movement and that's enough to get them in. And I've always been like, perfect conditions moving in.
Yeah.
But that's just us like trying to be safe.
Agreed.
When you just like, if you just back yourself, man, it's like, how many times have we done this now?
Yeah.
It's like, it don't need perfect conditions.
Yeah. I've had a client come on 2 weeks ago. Hasn't tracked for 2 years, but trained, needs to get kind of back in line, body composition goals. And I was like, you don't need to the preemptive stuff. Like, let's fucking go.
Yeah.
She's 1.2 down on the scales.
That's it.
Over a centimeter down on the waist. It's like, this is...
Get after it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have at it, queen.
Yeah.
Or king.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're moving on for the next component, high protein.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a meathead thing. It's not just because we have bigger muscles than we used to have.
Yeah.
And we weight train all the time. And it's only for those types of people. Preserving muscle mass when dieting is super important.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want people losing weight from their muscle.
Yeah.
We want to be losing body fat, you know, and increasing the consumption of someone's protein above what they would normally do would put them in the best position on top of obviously resistance training and progressively overloading. So the other thing for some people, I know research suggests that it doesn't make you full. I can attest to last prep for me going to the photo shoot. I was eating really high protein. It was making me pretty damn full.
Yeah.
You know, so it was slowing down it was helping me get from one feed time to another.
Yeah.
Obviously, the leaner you get, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
You know, your body's smart.
I'm still hungry, bro.
But it will help. And there's very, very favorable, you know, practice across decades now of body composition training where increasing the protein intake is just uniform.
Yeah.
You know, would help with your muscle preservation, like I said. And it also like brings the focus back to protein. I think a lot of people in this instance who are, say maybe before jumping in on something like this, they're not prioritizing protein.
Yeah.
So moving into this 4 kilo 6 week shred system, bringing that emphasis back to protein will help them on the other side of that. Because like even you were like, oh, the people that maintain their results and, you know, one of the most common things that they do is they track their food. One of the other common things that they have is a high protein diet.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it's those pieces of information, those little hints were all about like the clues that leave success.
It changes your decision making around food. So like knowing you have to hit, I heard someone say it the other day, like no one falls on 150 grams of protein a day.
Nah.
There's not an accident.
No way.
You have to wake up and have protein. You have to have it every meal. You have to structure your meals around reaching that target every day.
Yeah.
Which means it's like, well, I can't have pizza because I need a bolus of protein. And then if I have the bolus of protein and then try and eat pizza, I probably only have 2 slices.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it keeps everything in the tramlines.
Absolutely. Well, you look at the typical person, like their breakfast will be like, I don't know, like toast and coffee.
Yeah.
And it's like,
if they're healthy, it's oats.
Yeah. And then you're like, it's 10 a.m., maybe 11 a.m. by their next meal. And it's like, you're already, depending on your size,
40 grams behind.
30 to 50 grams of protein behind. And then it's like, well, what does that 10 a.m. meal look like? I'm sure it's got, 10 grams of protein in it if you're lucky.
Yeah.
And then you might have 20 at lunchtime. So you have 30 grams by lunchtime. You're probably 60 in the hole.
Yeah.
You know, so there's just so much benefit to it, which, this structure will help enforce.